What's up everybody, and welcome back to another daily video. In today's video, we are working on replacing the brake pads for the Nissan GT-R. Now, I just got off the phone with Nissan to see how much the OEM brakes cost. We'll play a quick clip right now.
Parts, press 3. For any other
the front pads are $631.29. The rear pads are $585.94. Your total for both of those after taxes is $1,302.44.
As you can see, they're about $1,300. That is a pretty decent chunk of change for brake pads on a car. Now here is the crazy thing. Here's what I went ahead and picked up. The brand is Quiet. These are front brake pads, rear brake pads for the car. I read a ton of forums of owners who use these brake pads on their car, and the biggest thing that I've noticed is the fact that they are quiet. The biggest drawback, and the one thing I absolutely hate about owning this car, is how squeaky these brakes are. I'll play a few clips of how bad this thing really is. As you can tell, they are ridiculously squeaky. I've never experienced a car that is this bad. No matter where I go, whenever I hit the brakes in slow speed settings, they squeak so loud, and it's just a loud screeching noise. It sounds horrible. It's honestly a little bit embarrassing driving this car around in the slow speed things, and that's just my biggest complaint with the car. These ones should not make a noise. They should be very quiet. And then as far as costs go, I know I'm going to get the comment, you can afford a GT-R, but oh, you can't afford the maintenance. It's not about that. It's about the fact that I absolutely hate the stock brake pads Nissan uses. These factory Brembo brake pads are really designed for high performance, high temperature. When you are slamming on the brakes on the racetrack, they're quiet. I was just this morning doing some data log runs with the new tune and everything, and you can actually tell the front rotors are a little bit scorched, so I was getting them pretty hot, and now they don't make a single noise. But I know in just a few days after that wears down, they're back to just being cold brake pads. They're gonna squeak a lot. So my main goal is to get a brake pad that is almost as good in performance, and then also takes away the annoying squeaking and some of the brake dust. And again, back to the reviews I've read on these, a lot of people have said that performance is almost there. Initial brake bite might be a little bit worse than the factory ones, but for daily driving, these are gonna be absolutely fine. The stock system is a race setting for track use, and 99% of the time since I'm out on the road, they really are overkill, so these should do pretty well. Now here is the craziest thing, the cost of these. $66 for the front and $36 for the rear. This was $110.10 all around. So 110 bucks versus $1,300. We have a $1,200 savings. And again, it's not that I'm doing this just to save money. I'm doing this because I just hate the squeakiness in the stock brake pads. So these new ones, they're cheap. They should be really good. They should do exactly what I need to. My stock pads I will save for the track. But let's get on with doing a cheap brake job on the GT-R and hopefully solving the squeakiness once and for all. With everything off now, we're gonna go ahead and crank the wheels just so I have a little bit better access to the actual brake pads, and then easily just crank the wheel. So the brake pads are right in here. You can see the pistons in there as well. Super easy to do. We just pop these pins out. These little springs come out. Got a bolt for these two bolts. These come out, and we'll wiggle it a little bit just to push the pistons into the caliper a little bit, and we should be able to pop these right out. So cleaned up the caliper just a little bit just to make it look a little bit nicer. So there is the inside where the pistons are and the rotor. As you can see, the rotor's got some weird scorch marks on it. Those will go away after I do some cooler driving. Brake pads actually look kind of beat up. They have a lot of cracking, it looks like, in it. I'm not sure how much of that is normal, but this inside edge looks a little beat up on this one. So they have had some abuse. They're still in good life. They have a few millimeters left, as you can see by that piece. I think they got about 2 or 3 left. Still thick and everything like that, but we are going to get the other pads. Let's see how these things look next to them. Wow, we got a ton more life. Holy crap. Perhaps those are a little bit more worn than I thought. Those are massive. So here's a good look at everything, the OEM Brembo pads, and then next to these Quiet ones. Definitely a ton of life on them. Just to put them next to each other real quick, I'd say we got about twice as much life, as you can see right there. Now looking at these new pads, they do have some type of shim on the back. It looks like it's pretty much glued into place, just this little piece around here. It might be a little bit more challenging sliding these ones in because they are a lot bigger than I was expecting. Yeah, I definitely got to push these pistons back in now. Now I don't have the proper tool that you put in here and expands them, but you can take just 2 fingers and push them one at a time, and that will slowly push them all nice and flush with the caliper. There's only one left that really got to go back in. It's kind of a chain effect. You push one in and one else comes out, but slowly you can get everything in nice and tight. So hopefully this thing slides right in now. All right, a little nudge with the hammer always helps. And then this side. So that was super simple. Now we will just put these pieces back in place. And that is complete. Swapping out to the new pads up front literally takes 5 minutes. And then of course, once I start up the car and I give it some brake pedal press, that'll firm up all the pistons will go back in contact to the new brake pads. So with the wheels nice and snug, I'll do the final torquing once I get it back on the ground. Let's go ahead and start it up just to pump the brakes a little bit. It might not be any play. Yeah, I can push that right to the floor. Hit the gas pedal. All right, so not too bad doing front brakes on the car. Pretty straightforward. It really can only take you maybe like 30 minutes. So we got the rear wheels all off now. We can take a look at the rear brake pads and rotors. The rotors are in pretty good shape. There's a slight bit of grooving in them, not anything crazy. Can't really get a good look at the pads since these don't turn, obviously, like the front end. But then as we go to our new rear brake pads, again, 36 bucks or something for these. Crazy pricing. These ones have come with new hardware for the rear. But we have the same looking pad for the rear, that same little shim piece. But definitely a ton of life in these compared to, I'm sure, what the stock ones are looking like. So it looks like for the rear brakes, we just have the 2 pins, and then this one piece will come out, and we should be able to slide the pads right out. Man, these are really hard compared to the fronts. The spring is kind of pushing them out as I'm trying to get it back. There's one pin out. Alright, finally, that definitely was a little bit challenging. So we'll do the same thing, just pushing the brake pads now. I should be able to get these pistons moving. Just kind of push and pull at the same time. And actually, I'm going to just pull them out a little bit to get a little bit better leverage and just spread them apart. That should do a good job since I do not have that proper tool. So this has the same type of shim on it. Pretty good life back in here. Got a few nicks in it. And then looking at the new pads, here's a good look at them side by side. I would say twice the life, about. Maybe an extra 3 millimeters. So this one will just slide right in the first side. And then taking the one that also has the wear indicator, we will slide that one in, which I believe went on the bottom. And that is nice in there. I'm gonna go ahead and actually just do it like this. Just get one in place, push this down, and help this one get in place a little bit better. Chewing up the paint a little bit on the brake calipers. Which actually leads me to a point real quick. Should I repaint the brake calipers? I'm thinking to do them like a dark red to match the seats. So comment down below if I should ditch the Nissan original orangish color and do a cool dark red, something to match the seats. They're almost all the way out now. But I think that should be good. I am just basically pad slapping the car, not doing anything to the rotors. But if I slowly bed them in, I think everything should work pretty nicely. With the car all done now, I went ahead and torqued all the wheels. Everything is squared away nice and tight. That's how you install new brake pads on the GT-R. Pretty simple, straightforward, really nothing special about it. And like I said earlier, if these perform even 80% as well as the stock ones as far as performance go, that's still more than enough for daily use. I mean, obviously this car is overkill for a daily driver as far as the performance goes. A lot of reviews said these things are pretty darn good as far as stopping power, so I'm not sacrificing any performance to gain the hopefully quieter brakes and less squeaky ride. But that is it. We're gonna drive the car around. Of course, I'm not gonna notice the full extent to how well these perform until I drive it and put some miles on it. I have to heat them up, go through some brake cycles just to bed the brake pads properly. But I'll do that over the next week or so and film a full review on what I think of these, because honestly, if a $100 brake pad can perform almost as well as the stock ones for performance, but not squeak at all and limit brake dust a lot, that is a huge bargain, especially better than paying $1,300 from Nissan. That is a complete ripoff, and I think half the time Nissan just charges you more just because it's a GT-R. So I've already pumped the brakes when I got the car off the jack stands, but now it's first drive. Hopefully I stop if I run into something and crash, and I know that was $100 not well spent. So of course right now the braking feel is probably going to be pretty limited. We'll get up to the stop sign in a second and see what it's like. But just coming out of the driveway, it's a little bit less grabby than stock, of course. But again, they got to brake in. All right, coming to a stop sign, I'm definitely pushing the brake pad a lot more. I'm not going to do any crazy hard stop, come right to a stop. You don't want to do that when braking in new pads. So just slowly decelerating on the brakes, just to slowly work their way in with the rotors and the new pads. For a GT-R owner out there watching, if for $100 you can get way better brake pads in stock that don't squeak, I mean, how can you complain with that? So anyway, I think that is gonna wrap up the video. I'm gonna go ahead and break these things in, just go through some heat cycles over the next few days, and hopefully I have finally solved the annoying squeaky brake problem. That's my biggest issue with this car. It's just so incredibly annoying. One thing I absolutely hate about this thing. But hopefully it's all fixed. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We upload every single day at 9 a.m. so make sure to hit that bell to stay notified. But that is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a huge thumbs up, smash the subscribe button. See you guys next video.